Found him. Nuclear Cadillo. Crazy dude. It's so funny to mess with him.
Is this the guy with the hat and the headphones in that picture?
Yeah, and that's what he looks like. I'm like, bro, like literally.
Yeah. You should not be talking.
I've never even like given my phone number to anyone that even looked close to you. Like I've never ever talked to anyone like you.
Oh my god.
Hey, what's up, guys? Another edition of the Nuke Stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me well. With this new roadcaster, I don't even know anymore. But anyways, guys, hold on. Another episode. Here we are. Today we're going to talk about the power of shutting the hell up and saying less. But not only on a date, overall, you like on your social media and all that stuff, right? So you said a little bit low, but not too bad. Okay. How about now? But anyways, yes. So uh today we're gonna be talking about saying less is more and what things to say, what to omit, what things you don't want to talk about, right? And this is gonna be based on my article, which I just published, I think yesterday, on Substack. And it's about, less is more. It's point 0.9 of my dating thread. And I think it's something that will help a lot of guys out, right? Because eventually, so not eventually, but if you guys see the big picture of uh why guys are giving up or why guys are going the religious route or building these covert contracts, or I shouldn't have to do this because I'm awesome, whenever it comes to their women problems, reproductive problem, or even married or whatever, it's that they just don't want to play ball, right? Uh they don't want to look at the dating game, and they don't want to accept the rules. They want to make their own rules or play a different game altogether. And the game has always been the game with slight changes, but the game has always been the game, right? No matter what form form of funneling you have for like getting chicks or sourcing women, right? Um, you will always have to meet her and be in front of her alone at some point. And you will always be able to stumble over, shoot yourself in the foot when it comes to talking to women. And for guys that are uninitiated, guys that don't have a lot of experience, for guys that are just dumb, like they want to Rambo, they want to go full Rambo in their dating life, uh they're going to have issues, because honestly, one of the hardest things to do when dealing with women is saying too much, revealing too much. It's even one of the 48 laws of power. Never reveal more. Was it always say less than necessary, as well as it's one of the big sayings in the military where it's like loose lips sink ships, meaning don't keep talking about stuff you're not supposed to, because that can get a lot of people in trouble. Um, and the mission will be compromised and all that. And then here, there's always the power of shut the fuck up, which is, a colloquialism, a funny phrase we say, but it's literally one of the hardest things for guys to do. They cannot just shut up. And all that. So we'll get into all those things. Sorry for the delay, guys. I was smoking a cigar with a friend, and I felt a little bit nauseous after, so I had to make myself some food. I didn't just want to pull something out the fridge, so I made myself some nice ramen. So yeah. But anyways, guys, let's get right into it. So my Substack article. Let me just open it up. I still don't even know how to use Substack. Let's see. Okay. Oh man, I don't even know how to open an article. Jeez. Okay, here we go. View post. Bear with me, guys. All right. So basically, game is more about what not to say. I know when guys are first learning hey, what do I say to chicks? Like, what do I say? What's a neg? What's a shit test? All that stuff, right? They get caught into more like, what do I say? And the way the human brain works when learning something that's very vast and complicated, or at least seems so, is that we prefer ourselves to, by process of elimination, excluding things, and that makes it kind of more simpler in your head. So when you guys are trying to learn, even me today, every you know, you're always a student. When I'm trying to learn how to talk to women, always think first, what are things I should not say? And that is such, it'll clear your head and create like a more of a neural pathway so you can have that flow state so you can, you know, continuously be charming, rattle off smart, fun, charming things to say instead of, you know, using lines or saying I'm going to use this direct, you know, I have to follow this direct line of questions. And, you know, so it's better process of elimination and remove the things that could cause you to lose it, girl lose interest or think you're weird or be like, this guy's, you know, not who I think he is, and all that. So we'll get into that. Uh, online discussions about a game, it's always like guys they take their ego and put it right in front of the forefront of the conversation. So if I'll be in a space, I'll be like, "Hey guys, red pill this, blah blah blah, red pill, corny red pill saying this, blah blah," and then guys will be like, "This is what you got to say to chicks, you know, screw all that red pill stuff. This is what you got to say to chicks." And it'll be like just one line, and like it works every time. And I'm like, okay, how does that help me? I may not be in the same country you are. I may not be dealing with the same type of chicks you're dealing with. So how does one line all of a sudden become the make or break for dating and talking to women and getting numbers and dates and all that stuff, right? It doesn't. Like there is no one single line that works 24/7 all the time, right? There's only one line that works sorry. One second, guys. I think I left the stove on. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So, yeah, there's no one single line or like thing to say that will always guarantee you women's interests, right? So, in order for us to kind of like start mentally preparing ourselves for the battlefield that is a date or dating women in general, it is much easier and easier on your brain to just say, hey, think, what do I not say? And then go from there. It's better. It's a better way of learning, cutting out all the riffraff, and it'll be easier in the long run. And you don't have to like go and like, hey guys, what do I say to this chick? What do I say to this chick? What do I do in this situation? Like, let's talk about what to not do. And you're gonna realize that most of game is and social calibration in general, when you're talking to people in general, is learning to omit or not talk about things in certain situations. And that takes a little bit of, you know, going out there and socializing, but also that takes a little bit of like thinking, you know, and putting yourselves in the other person's shoes, which is ultimately what makes you socially calibrated, is to put yourself in the other person's shoes that you're talking to. Stop, get your head out of your ass and think, if I were this person, would I want myself to talk? If I were them, would I be entertained or be motivated to answer them in this conversation? Right. And that's definitely like, that's ultimately what you want, is to be able to have that thought and be like, okay, I'm going to say something or I'm going to talk about something. Does this person is this person going to be interested as a human being? Would they enjoy me talking about this? Right. So, and you start there and then you kind of tailor it to women, you know, and their sensibilities and all that stuff. So, yeah. Um, yeah. So, uh, guys have this problem again. They're way too honest on dates. They're way too forthcoming. Girls do it too, but right, we're trying to get laid. We don't care what girl. Like a girl can be like, could say something crazy, racist, sexist, whatever, and we're just gonna be like, ha ha ha, that's funny. Guys, we're not the same. We don't get offended. We're not afraid physically of women. They are of us. So they have to be on a higher plane of neuroticism than we, because biologically speaking, they're afraid of men. Like, not to the level where we're presented to online, where they're trying to use their neuroticism to gain clout and victimhood status, so they can get more power and have guys feel sorry for them and all that stuff. But on a biological, visceral level, right? Women are afraid of how strong we are. Obviously, that's going away, and women are getting into fights too, and they pay for it pretty quickly. But for the most part, women are still very apprehensive about meeting guys on dates. You'll see this, like, they'll share the location to their girls in the group chat. They'll tell people where they're going, right? They'll carry pepper spray in their purse and stuff like that. And they'll do research on where you're going to take them, right? That's why, as time goes on, and especially as you get older, women are kind of want to know more about you up front, and that's the purpose of Instagram and Facebook or whatever social your dating apps is. At a minimum, right? They want to know that you're normal, you're not weird, you don't have these weird political beliefs or conspiracies, and that her going out with you, she's not gonna get end up in a blender or something like that. So, yeah, she wants to know that you're not weird, and that there's some level of social calibration and all that. So, yeah, that's basically why you have to be careful with how you present yourself online and in person when you're actually talking to her, right? Um, I always say, when it comes to learning how to be likable, or how to learn charisma and charm and all that stuff, think of the most likable person you've ever met. Right? It could even be a parent. It could be your brother. It could be a friend. It could be a boss you had at work. Hell, it could even be a chick that you dated. Right? Think of them and think, why did you like them so much? Right? A lot of the times it's because they were genuinely interested in you, in your day. Like, there are people that ask you, "Hey, how's your day been?" And it's usually they do that because they want to talk about their day. They want to get you out the way so they can talk about their day. That's not very likable, because you're just like, "Oh God, here it comes." Um, there are people that knew how to end conversations appropriately, right? Like, they wouldn't drag a conversation on longer than it had to. When I was in the Navy, I knew this guy. I'd work with this guy, right? He was a little off. Maybe he was on the spectrum, but we would have a conversation, and he never picked up on cues that the conversation should end. For example, I'd be like walking away out of the room, and he'd still be talking, and I turn my back and I'm like, all right. And then he'd still talk to me and almost chase me up to the door, because he didn't understand that, like, hey, when I'm turning my back, or like my body language is showing you that I got to go somewhere, and I'm like opening the door, you're not wrapping up the conversation, you're keeping me hostage, right? So things like that, think of like that, like, do I do that? Am I a person that talks too much, or I hold people hostage when I talk to them? Or am I the type of person that is really good at picking up cues? And you get better over time, right? The way you pick up on female body language will improve. It's a skill. It takes practice, right? And it's not something that you're gonna get day one or month one. Hell, it may even take you years to be able to tell how women's facial reactions and their body language dictate what they want out of you in that moment. Um, I dated a beautiful Asian woman once, right? Like, beautiful body of like a Latina or a black woman, but face like Lucy Liu, right? Gorgeous. And we were on the date, one of my favorite date spots, and it was a great date, but there was she was a little impatient. She was having a good time, but you could tell she was like a little impatient. And I sensed this. And then she started looking at the door, right? And I'm like, and then she looked at me and said, "Hey, do you live around here?" And I knew immediately, like, hey, this girl's traveling from Miami to Dallas. She doesn't have a lot of time. She just wants me to take her back to her place, right? She that level of reading body language takes time, right? And that goes hand in hand with today's topic, because what if I just kept droning on about my life in the Navy, or about something cool I did, or like how her day was or something? It was time to shut the hell up and take action. Be like, hey, yeah, I Yeah, actually down there. You wanna, grab some water or something, or like you wanna meet my dog, like introduce the plausible deniability for the third part of the date and final part of the date, right? So see how like knowing when to shut up and move on to the next phase of something helps you, right? And as you date more attractive women and you get into the higher, you start becoming a contender for hotter women. You have to tighten it up even more, right? Because your window of opportunity is much smaller. Uh, so yeah, learning to shut up when necessary is very important, right? That girl was like, "Hey, dude, you win. You've gained me enough. Like, you're hot enough for me to go have sex with you. Like, shut the hell up and get it done, dude. Like, I'm here. Like, get it done. You win. You win, stupid." So I just, I took action. I almost felt dumb because I didn't notice it earlier. But yeah. So moving on. Um, okay, so like I said before, discussions on game online are super cringe, right? Like you'll go into a space and I'll be discussing something, right? I'm not saying I'm like a PUA. I'm not. I have this in my mind. I have like a 20% rule, right? Like if you have 20% of the skill of the best person or an elite level of a skill, then you're gonna do it's more than enough, and you'll be actually overwhelmed by the amount of maybe success or prestige or money that it gives you, right? So if you have 20% of Arnold Schwarzenegger's muscle when he was at his peak, you probably have the best physique in like, of out of all your friends and hell, like top tier, right? Physique, because you have 20% of one of the most elite physiques of all time. If you have 20% of Mystery or Neil Strauss or Tom Torero's game, then dude, you're gonna have too many women and too many opportunities, right? Not now. That's a little complicated because women are their own things, and there's logistics that come into place. There's your own, you know, pace and how many times you go out, right? But think of it that way. Don't compare yourself to the most elite because these guys literally destroyed their minds and bodies and reputations and so on and so forth to become that level. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is do 20% of that. 20% is an arbitrary number. It's like 1/5, a part of that, whatever. Excuse me. Once you do that, you'll be able to execute and be way miles ahead of the average person. And this applies for anything. If you practice 20% of piano that maybe a great composer like Philip Glass or something did, then dude, you're going to be a great pianist, and everyone that knows you is going to regard you as a great pianist, right? So think of it like that. It removes the pressure of having to meet these otherworldly standards of freaks of nature who sacrifice their whole life, their health, their mental health, everything, where you can just get all the like a fifth of the benefits just because first off, most people are not even trying, and you don't have to sacrifice your whole life just to learn a skill. You could just to be elite at that level. You can just, have a reasonable level of that skill and get incredible benefits just from that. So, yeah. All right. Um, let's go to my sound drops. So let's see. We got a couple guys here. We have Jack, Julian. What's up, Julian? One of our members.
Howdy, fellas.
Oh, my bad. Didn't hear that.
Howdy, fellas.
We got Phil Brad. How you doing?
Howdy, fellas.
We got, let's see, Saria. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
You got Jack Napier. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Winter Mute. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Cool. Victor be like, hey, girl, want to come back to my place and watch me unsub from Jack? This has never failed me. Nice. That's a great one. I use that all the time. Almost all people can't even reach 2% of what Arnold's reaching. Like, yeah, he's a freak of nature. Like he's, but if you have 20% of his workout regimen and his nutrition and all that stuff, and I don't know about the steroids. I don't recommend steroids. I'm not a specialist on that. But just the work ethic and the physique and all that stuff, you're like, you're you're doing good. You know, you're doing great. You're actually going to be an elite. Not world champion, you know, but you're going to be elite. You're going to be regarded as a fit person, you know. Newt, get the stove. It's funny. All right, so yeah, let's move on. Or you know what? Let's take a break and then we shall continue. All right, and we're back. We got 160 live viewers, guys. We got 28 on YouTube, 131 on X, and 1 on Twitch. If any of you guys are on YouTube, or sorry, Twitter, retweet the channel. Let's get this message out. This is actually good information. Anyways, guys, moving on. So let's start with the easy stuff, right? Social media. Social media is basically a part of our lives. It's like, you know, you can't rip it out of your life, or else, you know, you can, but it's just gonna make you're gonna leave a lot of opportunities on the table to make yourself look good. So assuming that every guy has social media, social media definitely goes hand in hand with shut the fuck up, like not saying or doing things that could ruin opportunities, not only with women, with jobs and friends, and having to explain yourself to people and all that stuff, right? So one of the first things I say is your public social media, the one that your friends, your family, your employers, or and women see, like Facebook and Instagram, keep it as politically neutral as possible, right? If you are super pro Trump, right, and I can't blame you, the guy definitely has aura, right? Don't be rattling off like stuff on Facebook about how, you know, like political charged issues, right? Especially stuff like abortion or immigration, all that stuff. Yes, everyone has their opinions on it, and yes, there are other people that are sharing it, right? But those public platforms are not for you to rattle off your political opinions, right? It's a stupid thing. There's only downside. No one really cares about your opinion politically on these public platforms, right? Your Instagram, your dating profile, and your Facebook, right? Whatever you use, should be a way to present the best side of you, your attractiveness, right? Obviously, pictures really don't do us justice as men all the time, but you got to try. And if you're going to use Instagram, please, or Facebook, or any or dating apps, don't be putting political stuff on there, because it's only downside. Yes, of course, uh, we're in an election year. There's a lot of political opinions. There's a lot of political issues and events happening all the time. Like today, Trump, you know, somebody tried to shoot Trump from a distance, even though they're like making it more, I think, a bigger deal than it is. But so there's going to be a lot of talk about that, right? Try your best to keep neutral on these public platforms, right? Make it about how cool and awesome and hot you are as a dude, not about what you think about what some politician said the other day, right? And that moves us on to the second part of that, where you know, your private social media, like my Twitter account, right? Or if you have an account on like on Truth app, or whatever account where you don't really show your true self, you maybe use an alias, or not, you know, you don't have a picture and all that stuff, like a YouTube channel like this, right? Use an alias. Keep that stuff under wraps as much as you can, right? This has bitten me in the ass 1 or 2 times, because I decided back in 2021, before I made content, I was very red pill, and I was very pro Trump, conservative, all that stuff, right? So I would rattle off opinions on Twitter, right? But Twitter didn't have my face. I didn't even have my face then. But I decided to, for some reason, to follow a girl who I was seeing, because she's like, "Hey, I used to do content." She was a freaky girl, and I just wanted to see. So I followed her, right? And this is the stupid stuff that I do, and this is why the power of shut the hell up is so important. I decided, uh, I didn't know how interested she was in me, and it was like during the Dallas freeze, and my birthday was coming up. So I was like, I want to make plans. I just moved to the city. I want to do something fun. My brother was coming up. My friend was coming up with his girlfriend and all that stuff. So what I did was I invited this girl to my birthday, right? Let's say girl A, right? Girl A was kind of excited, but like also kind of wishy-washy. So I was like, to make sure I have a date for my birthday, I'm going to invite this other girl I went on a date with, girl B. Um, and at last minute, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with girl B. She's cuter, at least to me. She seems more, interested and more excited to go to my birthday. I told her, hey, I know we just met, but do you want to be my birthday date? I know if it's too much, it's too much. She's like, no, I'd love to. So I'm like, okay, cool. That wasn't the mistake. It wasn't um that I ghosted a chick, girl A, on my birthday, because she was like getting ready, like, hey, are we going? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm going out with someone. I'm actually not going out, uh or something. So I don't remember, right? It's such a long time ago. And then I posted about it on Twitter for some reason. I freaking posted about it, about how I'm so awesome, and I got a second date, and I ghosted girl A, and it was just stupid stuff. I think it was the first time I had a lot of abundance in my life, because I was in the military for so long, and girl A found out, right, and she posted me about me and what I did to her on the "Are We Dating the Same Guy" Dallas Facebook page, which is a huge page on where girls go to find out if guys are like dating them and another girl or cheating or whatever, right? If they're in a relationship, whatever. And apparently I was on that page for like 10 weeks, right? And I got a lot of traction. Everyone was like, oh, now, is that good advertising? Yes, it's absolutely amazing advertising, right? To be on these page where so many girls are just like, what an asshole. How could he do this? What's his name? Just so I know to avoid him. It probably, and I don't know if it really did, but she said it got a lot of traction, and later on when we became friends, and it was water under the bridge. But that was risky, right? Like I could have, personal information could have got leaked. She could have, made lies, and she did lie. She stretched the story a little bit to make me look even worse, right? Of course. She could have, she knew me personally, and she could have spread to Dallas all these, bad things about me. So it was risky. Luckily, she didn't say too much, and I don't think she's a bad person. She just feel really slighted by that because I was bragging on social media. She then went on to make a TikTok about me, and I still have it. She sent it to me afterwards, right? And now I'm on two social media platforms, being where they're using my name and the picture of the girl too that I was with at my birthday, and so had I practiced the power of shut the hell up, I wouldn't have to deal with that headache. Even though it's good advertising, it's still sometimes, think about it, is it really worth the risk to have your face out there, and your real name, your last name, and all this information? Is it worth it? Who knows? But it's very risky. So yeah, be careful. Be careful with what you say on your public social media. I'll give you guys another example. I went on a coffee date with a Puerto Rican girl, right? Cute, busty, you know. Um, and the first day was pretty good, right? So I'm like, okay, it was a coffee date. I only had time for a coffee date that week. My evenings were, I was busy in the evenings. So uh, the next day, she sends me a screenshot of some post about where I posted. I think it was, uh, guys, should you allow your girlfriends to go on vacations? And that got like 90 comments on Facebook. I'm not a big celebrity on Facebook. I have like a normal amount of followers and uh um normal amount of people have, but that post got like 90 something, almost 100 comments. Like insane. Never have I gotten that many comments on anything on Facebook, right? So she sent me a screenshot of that post, and she said, "Well, I'm glad to know who you really are. Have a nice day. I don't want to see you." And boom, I lost an opportunity because I decided to use my Facebook as a political platform rather than just, hey, look at me, I'm here with my dog, or here's family pic. Instead of using it to seem like a normal dude, that's the point of Facebook. It's so you can post pictures of your family or what you're doing, so your family and close friends can see what you're doing. But instead, I'm like, Trump this and intersexual dynamics that and red pill this, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, what a waste. Like why do I need other people to agree with me on this stuff? It was stupid. It was it was a learning moment. And that's why on your social media, the power of shut the hell up is incredibly important. Um, it'll You don't want to lose potential plates, dates, even a potential future girlfriend if you find a good girl, because you were way too political. Your political beliefs, your beliefs on intersexual dynamics, your beliefs on anything, your conspiracies, all that stuff. When she is hopping on you every night or every other night and she's falling for you, then you can start bringing that stuff up, because as you guys know, women over time, when they start feeling genuine desire, they adopt your beliefs and your conspiracies and all that stuff, right? But in the beginning, when you're just trying to get laid, that first couple of dates, right? Just keep that stuff to yourself on social media, right? Don't show her who you really are yet, right? Because she's a stranger. She's also hiding a lot of things about her. Why don't you play that game? Don't be stupid. And it's not only politics and intersectional dynamics and conspiracies or anything. It could just be like an unsexy hobby, right? If you are into an unsexy hobby, like Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer or anything like that, that is your hobby. I have unsexy hobbies. You can see I like anime. I like hey, I wanna I wanna play Dungeons and Dragons whenever my friend moves up to Dallas. I will be playing. I will ask him, hey, let's start a game. Um and I have video games. I have my Nintendo Switch out next to my TV. Right, but I don't talk and post about it constantly on my social media. Like, I do, but it's like it's moderated, right? I'm not like my whole life and my whole persona is that I watch Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece or anything like that, or Demon Slayer, right? It is like, "Hey, I'm watching Demon Slayer today," and then it's a very, like, nonchalant, casual, right? Um so unless you're in a niche, right? Like, let's say the way you source women is at anime conventions or something like that. Um, don't make your public social media about things that the common average woman, like just a normal chick, would find a deal breaker. And I know that's like, but these are my hobbies. I do what I want. I get it, right? But um having all your weapons all over Instagram, right? Having anime dolls on your Instagram, right? It could cost you lots of opportunities. And in the beginning, when you're dating women and you're still trying to get out there, right? You need all the experience. You're not necessarily lays, but you need all the experience you can get. You need to be in front of multiple women at like during a period of time. And it's not necessarily about getting the lay, but getting yourself comfortable for dating. So you can become one of the elite people that make their dating problem their own. So in order to do that, you need to have a very neutral uh, kind of stance on politics, conspiracies, whatever you believe, your hobbies. Make it as neutral as possible, right? And if you are one of those people that, hey, I absolutely need to date conservative women, or I need to absolutely date women that share my hobbies, right? Then you better put in the work, and you better make first off, you still need to make your profile attractive, right? And you still need to be careful what you say, right? Because even if you're in conservative circles, the abortion debate is still a contentious issue, right? Even if you like anime, right? You know, y- there could be women that are into anime but don't like the fact that you're cosplaying and look weird and doing these weird poses, right? Which I think cosplay is cool as hell. Like, I go to anime cons and I take pictures with the cosplayers. I'm like, this is cool as hell. But right, moderation, nuance, calibration, keep it neutral as possible. right? Because if you don't, you're just losing opportunities for you to learn about women and ultimately get laid. Over time, as you get better with game, you get less patient with women, or you start honing in on what you really want. It could be you want a nerdy anime girl. Like those are great. I've dated a couple of them and they're freaking great. They're awesome chicks, right? But until you get to that point where you can kind of like be able to have the leverage, the game, and the logistics and just the knowledge of women to be able to choose specifically what type of woman you want, don't don't make your Instagram too, or your public social media, you know, too weird, too out there, So, okay. All right. So, um, like any other person, being in front of a stranger causes a little bit of anxiety, right? Whether it be a dude or a job interview, or you're trying to console someone at a funeral that you don't know, or you're trying to network at a networking event, or you just moved into a new apartment, or a date with a girl, right? Um, there's a little bit of anxiety. And part of the anxiety for guys that are just still calibrating, still learning how to socialize, getting out of their shell, exiting a long-term relationship, anything, right? Where you're just starting from zero, or you just took a break from dating, like I am right now and all that stuff, right? The question in your head that it's gonna be like, what do I say? What if I say something dumb, right? And that could be a little nerve-wracking for a couple guys because the conversation gets stale, or there's a long pause, or she said something crazy and I don't know how to respond, especially now women like to be sometimes overly sexual, right? As a way to like mess with you. And that could throw you off your game if you're not careful, right? So, um we'll talk about a couple things here, that a couple topics and things in general not to say. Let's get practical here. Let's get specific. Here, I'm going to tell you the things that you will not talk about, right? And if she brings it up, how to like divert and go back to being fun or whatever, right? But first, let's take a break. And guys, drop a super chat if you like what I'm putting down. So let's let's do this one. All right, and we're back, guys. All right. So here are things that you will not talk about. Uh, First thing, the easy one, the gun that I've been harping on. Avoid political and social issues. Right. The election, abortion, immigration, racial issues, women's issues, wage gap, all that crap. Even if she truly believes anything that's a lie, a complete lie or something, just avoid as much as you can. Now, some of them are going to corner you with political questions. It's a near unpassable shit test when a girl says, "So, what do you think about this?" Or, "Are you, luckily as a brown guy, a lot of women, um, kind of already assume that I'm, either moderate or liberal, and I just go with that, right? I mean, obviously, if you're a muscular dude and you have the physiognomy of a conservative guy, it's gonna be hard to sell anyway, but, that helps me, but some women will corner you with a political or social issue question, right? I say, "Hey, I personally have not found a surefire way for you to get out of this, out of this one, right? I just go with the liberal answer. Because even a conservative, even a neutral answer could bog down the date, right? Like if she says like, so don't tell me you're one of those guys that's like anti-abortion, right? Even if you say, hey, like I think states should decide, that's still not enough for women, right? This is an emotional issue for women, a very like a surprisingly emotional issue. So you just say, yeah, I think women should have control over their bodies. Like, why are we still even discussing that? And then you move on, right? I know, especially for the religious guys or the guys that truly think it's immoral, move on. I get it, but it's just the dating game right now. You just go with it, right? If the girl decides to sleep with you a couple times and starts liking you, whether it be casual, you want a casual relationship or something serious, she will completely not care about your own stance, right? And then there are funny ways. There are ways to like explain to her in the future about how you really feel about things. Like, for example, I say, hey, I can't control what you do with your body. Like that's up to you. Like legally speaking, it is your body. I cannot tell you what to do with your body. However, if you do get rid of my child, right, even if I don't want it, um, it just means you don't like me that much, and I'll leave you. I'll do you the favor and leave you because you don't want my child. You should be excited to have my kid, even if it's an accident, even if we're not even ready to have kids, right? That's my stance. It's not even a political stance. It's a logic based on my knowledge of intersexual dynamics and all that stuff, right? This is a small example, but like that's not something I would say on a first date. That's a little strong statement, right? That statement is only good when a girl's like already invested in you. And on a first date, there's zero investment, right? She could leave and never see you again at any moment. So be smart, guys. Just go with the liberal answer. That's your safety net. Go with that. And obviously don't try too hard, but just be like, yeah, I do believe women should have this right, or yeah, I do believe this and I do believe that, right? Because there's some women that truly, you know, from what I've seen, women have an internal battle with because they on a macro level, they know that guys that are liberal are just not, they're just not the muscular guys. They're not the guys that are domineering that they like. They're not the guys that are good in bed. They're not the guys that don't ask permission. They just do whatever they want. They're just not the guys that they like in general, right? So they have this internal battle where, hey, like, how do I square the circle? I like the hot conservative guys, the guys that have guns, the guys that are, pro-Trumpers or whatever. How the hell do I explain to myself that I hate the things that he believes in, but I actually like him? How do I explain that to myself? Right? So keep her fantasy alive, right? Because that's dating is a lot. It's just, dating is just a fantasy sometimes. It's just fantasy. So just go with the liberal answer. Don't sell it too hard and move from there. Because even with girls that like you can tell them, hey, that gun is to protect you in case someone messes with you. And, in theory, that's supposed to turn her on. But I've seen it work the other way where girls just get like anxiety, right? Because remember, girls live in their little bubbles, right? They have the power to live in their bubble of delusion. We don't as men. So just, be smart, guys. Don't, save the politics for your friends, for your private private social media, not for a girl on a date. Right. So we got a super chat from Dark Knight Dev. You get one of these, sir. Where is it?
Thank you so much, best friend.
Dark Knight Dev, $5, $5.01 super chat. How was it dating a single mom? I did it. She was horny, DR chick in the Bronx. Problem was she wanted a family, and I love being a bachelor so much. Well, how was it dating? Trying to think. Let me remember. Single moms. Tired. A lot of them are very tired. Raising a family alone is difficult. Regardless of what they say, it's doable, but it's takes a lot more effort. You don't have a lot of opportunities to meet them. When they say, "Hey, Saturday night I'm free," it means Saturday night. That's it. That's all they have for the week. Um, they sex to them is more like a stress relief thing because the stress of being a single mom and all that stuff. They just don't have the same masculine kind of presence in their life that they need and or they uh, want due to the strenuous circumstances they're in. So they kind of seek like a very they want you to like like be domineering and kind of more so than single women or single young women, right? Uh, what else? Let's see. Um, yeah, they don't have a lot of time. That's like the biggest thing is like when you're fooling around with single moms, they don't have a lot of time, and whenever they say, "Hey, I'm free this day," and that's it, that's that's all they have, right? Um, and since they're so busy, they have kids. The kids is what's keeping them from going back into the streets a lot of times. You are their streets, right? You are their excitement. You are their sex. You are their everything, right? Because now that they have kids, they don't have a lot of opportunities to go out every weekend. They don't have a lot of opportunities. Obviously, you have the abuela that comes take care of the kid or the baby daddy, right? But for the most part, they're very emotional too. The anxiety when you're a single mom, your anxiety and eroticism goes up a little bit because life's harder, and you're scared and you're single, you're lonely, and you got to do holidays by yourself, all that stuff. So the role you take as a guy that's a single, fun, exciting guy that's dating single woman or single mothers is that you are her streets, you are her excitement, you are her little escape from the mistakes she made and the consequences. So just be that, right? You probably don't want to see her long term. You don't expect anything long term because most guys don't want to date single moms seriously. Sadly, it's a terrible problem. That's not my problem, right? But yeah, that's just the dynamic that I've seen. It's just very busy, and you have replaced the streets. You are the streets for it. So, thanks for the super chat, man. Great question, by the way. All right, let's see. Hey, Julian Reyes, gifted one nuclear calibration image. Thank you, sir. You get one of these.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Oh, and you get one of these, sir. Let's see. You get one of these. All right, awesome. Thanks, man. All right, so yeah, let's see. Matthew W has a story here. Had a near full room of angry females and liberal men pressing me on an anecdotal abortion situation and made the entire room laugh with amused response. Yeah, if you want to sit down and come up with a good response or a funny response that takes kind of like like makes it the conversation back to being lighthearted and less serious. Yeah, sit down and come up with one. We are all allowed to create. Um, right? Or you can go the route of just being safe and saying something, like, yeah, I'm totally for this thing, and then move on, right? So be careful out there, right? Gonna start giving one out every thanks, man. You don't have to, right? But I appreciate you. And Julie, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but since you're one of my first members, if there's anything that you think would be a good idea that would help you, that would be members only, let me know, right? I want to do members only stuff, right? But understand, like I'm writing my Substack right now, and I have so many irons in the fire that I'm trying to consolidate as much as I can with content and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to do is like my dating thread, go one by one through 100, and just do members only videos on very, detailed look at that certain thing I wrote about, and even give stories and all that stuff. I don't know if it's gonna be live. I don't think I have enough members for it to be live and have a discussion. because if I did do a members live only live chat, then I'd be very interactive. You know, I'd give you guys that experience where any question you guys ask, anything, I'd be basically a conversation between you guys and me, right? And I wouldn't even drone on too long. I'd just be reading the chat and having a conversation with you. But that I have to carve out time. You know, I got a big project at work right now and all these things, right? So please, if there's anything I could do for you guys that are members, let me know. DM me somewhere, email me, and I'm taking all suggestions and also reactions, right? If you have if you want me to react to a video too, send it to me on Gmail, and I'll do it for members and all that stuff. So, yeah. Context above. There's a context. Let's see, guys. Hard for. There's context. Oh, that sucks. My father, wife's son get together with a single mom and got 2 kids. Well, that sucks. All right. Anyways, all right. So what's the next thing you don't want to talk about on a date? And that is avoid personal financial details. So that means your salary, what you can afford should be hidden as much as possible, right? Guys that are like full on money, it solves all my problems with women. They're the ones that suffer from this the most, right? Because they didn't learn game. They got to their like 32. They're making good money. Good for them, right? They have a business, whatever, a good job. And then they don't know the first thing about what not to say to a woman. So because of this, they'll go on a date, right? And they cannot help but to put to the forefront their money, their prestige, or whatever things that their finances got them, what they can afford, and all that, right? And all that's going to do is make you a target for women, right? That cannot resist simp money or easy stuff from men that are like fighting to give it to her. Or it'll make you look try hard, and the woman will be like, "Oh, he's one of those guys that thinks he can buy me or impress me with money," right? You don't want to lead with money ever. So when you are on a date, this takes a little nuance, right? I personally want women to know up front that I am not a bum, right? That's just who I am. You guys may have a different type of game. You guys may, do gutter game or, bartender game, mattress on the floor game, right? That's fine. Whatever works for you, right? But me personally, as a guy, I subtly let women know, hey, I'm not a bum and I'm above the pack in terms of my finances, right? But you got to think, right? I live in a very nice area, one of the nicest areas, I'd say, in Dallas, right? When she's driving to come see me, she sees the roads and the sidewalks made out of brick. So she's like, okay, this guy is living in a nice area. He probably makes decent money. She sees young hot white women running at 8 p.m. So it's like, okay, this is a safe area. She sees the private security truck making rounds because now we have private security here in my neighborhood, right? She sees all these dogs that are like very expensive, like Frenchies and all these like expensive breeds of dogs walking around, right? She sees that there's no trash. She sees that it's mostly white people, right? There's not a lot of brownies out here. She sees that a lot of people here are dressed kind of like classy. So in her mind, she already knows, that that my financial situation is not in the gutter, that I'm doing okay, right? So because of that, I don't need to go on the date and be like, yeah, I got this job at this engineering firm, but they didn't pay me enough. So I decided now they're paying me twice as much. And then I went to Cancun last week because I was bored over the weekend. I just paid a cat. Like, you don't have to do that shit, right? She already knows. Women are not stupid. She's making up her mind. As a matter of fact, when you've planned the date, it may not necessarily be an expensive place, and hopefully it's not. But when you plan the date and she sees what area it's in, right? It means to her like, hey, this guy's not ghetto. He's like, like he planned the date, but the date looks like in a nice area. Like women do research, right? They have anxiety about meeting strangers more than we do because they're the weaker sex. So you see how all that part of it subtly through discovery, discovery is better than disclosure, was already taken care of. So guys, keep your financial things away from women, even if you're going through financial hardship, right? Hey, you met a girl that's interested, you just need some sex, life's stressful, you're trying to figure it out, right? Don't worry about proving to her that you have money and keep that you don't, right? And you'll see that it's something that it's silly that guys use it, right? And you'll start. I don't feel sorry for guys that that like get tricked by women for like dinner dates and all that stuff. And it's because like deep down, you only see dating in terms of like transaction, right? You only see love and relationships as transactional. I'm good at my job and I get paid well, therefore I should get women because I'm awesome. When in reality, it's like, hey, that's not how that works. Women are people and they have two sides of their, hypergamy has two sides. They like the exciting alpha guy and, the provider type. And money, like I say, money is always the beta side of hypergamy, no matter which way you want to spin it. I don't care how cool you think it is to have a Bugatti or how cool you think it is to go to a restaurant and drop $200 on a dinner. It's still the beta side of hypergamy, no matter how you try to spin it as being something alpha in terms to dating, right? And keep that in mind. Now, have I had dates where I'm like kind of hungry and I'm like, hey, you want to go to sushi this afternoon? I'm hungry and I want sushi. I have the money to spend an extra $40, $50 on a girl to come eat sushi with me. And, that's kind of like a more when you master the basics of dating, you can do that. And the thing is, like, if nothing happens, I'm like, I had sushi. Yeah, I spent extra money, but yeah, I make it back tomorrow. It's not a big deal, right? I live in America. Money's not hard to come by if you're not lazy sack of shit here. So, um, so yeah, keep your financial situation, whether it's positive or negative, out of the limelight. She will find out eventually. And if you do plan a date and you live in a nice area, right? For you guys that are in your 30s, hopefully, you just made good choices and have a good career. She'll know, right? She'll see the Frenchies. She'll see the upscale coffee shops. She'll see young white women running at 8 p.m. She'll see class women, hot women in classy dress. She'll see Asian women on dates with white guys. She'll be like, "Oh, this guy is doing okay," and that's it. She's already you've already proved to her in a good way, in the right way, that you're doing all right financially, right? Now, in other countries, I don't know how that works. I don't date in other countries. It's probably less important in other countries, but in America, you know how women are here, right? So, yeah. All right. Julian Reyes, you're good, Nuke. I'm waiting patiently for the book. I'm gonna do my part to get the membership up so you can hopefully implement those ideas. All good, by the way. Hey, man, I appreciate you watching, man. All right, makes sense. Hey, what's up, Matt? Mattress on the floor. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Mattress on the floor game, MOTF game, where literally you have nothing left. Your life's in shambles, and for some reason, girls are attracted. Like you, the times when like my life is in shambles, not even financially, like emotionally, just I'm in shambles. I'm sad. I'm depressed. It's just like this is a mating call for a certain type of women where they're just like they want to save you, they want to help you, they want to bring you up. They just can't resist taking care of you and giving you hot nights of sex, So it's like I say, guys are discussing like what's better, like, oh, you don't need all that. You don't need to be like live in a nice apartment, a nice area. I have a mattress on the floor. I'm like, no, dude. It's all about where you're at in life. Like, if you're 24 and all you have is a mattress on the ground, you're just starting out in life, then that's where you're at in life. You don't. I'm not purposefully gonna get rid of all my nice stuff to live on an air mattress on the floor because I see some 22-year-old have a mattress on the floor and it works for him. Let's think here, right? Now, if right now I lose everything, let's say I get injured, I can't work anymore, and I lose everything, then I'm back to mattress on the floor, then that's what it is, I'm not gonna purposefully get a mattress on the floor just because some other guy, it works for him, right? So, yeah, MOTF gang. All right, let's take another break. I feel like a lot of information to put out here. Let's do this one. All right, and we're back, guys. Um, so where were we? All right, so moving on. Now, here's another. Okay, so avoid. This kind of goes into the avoid talking about your job. I know a lot of us take pride in our jobs. We all think our jobs are exciting and fun or interesting, right? I think my job is boring as hell. So don't talk about it, right? Oh, she's gonna ask you like, "Hey, what do you do?" Avoid being like, my job's so awesome. Avoid trying to make your job sexy unless it is a sexy job, right? If you're a firefighter, yeah, that's a job that women find attractive, right? So like, talk about your job. Yeah, I'm a firefighter. The more nonchalant you are about this, revealing this, the better it is, right? Like, yeah, I'm a firefighter. She's like, ooh, and then maybe you rattle off a story about how you saved a cat from a burning building, or how you got injured and you have a scar. Like, that's attractive, right? But if you're like me, that I work in the IT engineering industry, electrical industry, um, what am I gonna say? Yeah, I go to servers around Dallas, and one time I saved the server room from crashing by doing like no, like that's unsexy. Like trading Bitcoin, unsexy, all that crap, right? Unless you have a sexy job, like hey, I'm a fighter pilot, or hey, um, military is kind of is got to be careful with that one. Maybe if you're in combat, anything that's masculine, like conventionally masculine job, right, could be seen as sexy. Maybe not construction, maybe not plumber, maybe not electrician, right? But like certain jobs are sexy, attractive to women. Look them up. I know, like it's one of those things where like, who cares? I am what I am, right? But like, you can talk about your job, right? But understand that just keep it short unless it's sexy. And if it is sexy, make it nonchalant. Yeah, like yeah, I own this business. So yeah, I'm a partner of a law firm. Lawyer life. Yeah, I'm a doctor or something like that. Those are sexy jobs. Uh, you can incorporate a good story where where it shows status and maybe some comfort signals. Like the other day I had to say, I had to help a little boy with a broken bone. It made me so sad, whatever. That works, right? But like, I have no story in my job where it makes me look sexy, unless I could say like, yeah, I led a team to do this, but like that's it. Like, so keep your job as keep your unsexy job as simple. Try to keep it to three things. Like, I work in IT engineer or IT electrical industry, right? And all that. So as long, she's already seen where you live. She's seen she your financial situation often permeates through how you speak and how you carry yourself and how you dress. So, just keep your job off the table. Just describe it and move on, right? So, all right. All right. Avoid talking about exes. Yeah. So this one is actually kind of hard, right? Because there's a part of the date where you're gonna get very comfortable with each other, right? Like your guard's gonna start going down, the alcohol is gonna start hitting. Um, and she's gonna start like women like to be very open about certain things, especially like drama in their life. For some reason, like you'll find out all this crazy fight she had with her mother. You'll find out about all these crazy details, right? Especially if you get experience with women and have game, they'll feel instantly that you get it, and they'll start opening up like a book, right? Conservatives that are like, and guys obsessed with body count don't get that, right? Because they keep framing the woman in this. You have to be this perfect angel for me, but you're not an idiot, so don't have to worry about that. So you'll feel comfortable, and then should you like, what about you? How long have you been single? I usually am honest. Like, yeah, it's been a year, it's been 6 months, 8 months, 3 months, whatever. Um, if you've been single for like a month, I don't think you should say that out loud because it makes it seem like, women get very anxious when talking to dudes that just left another girl for some reason. Um, but when it comes to your ex, right? If she asks you like, so what was your ex like? Like, women are very interested in this for some reason, but what was your ex like? How long you guys still talk? Are you still friends? Blah blah blah. Are you still friends? Nah, I don't think, I'm just not, I don't think it was good for us to be friends. Keep it neutral as possible and try to keep it short. And when you're in this part of the conversation, try to start pulling yourself out, right? Um, I usually am very playful with it, right? If she's if she says, so what about your ex? Like, are you still friends with her online or on social media or whatever? I'll say like, no, she actually found out I was going on a date with you, and she got scared. So that's a very fun, way to pull yourself out and make the conversation about fun again, right? That's one of those things. It's a shit test, right? And that's the way I pass the shit test, right? This is gold right now. This is good game I'm giving you guys. Is say something playful like that, right? Like, hey, what about your ex? Are you still friends with her? And you could say, hey, no, actually, she found out I was going out with a woman like you, and she blocked. She's intimidated by you, or something like that. So she blocked me today, right? And boom, it gives her, that kind of playful response, and she can, pull out of that part of the conversation and move on to something more interesting, fun, and beneficial to both of you. So, yeah. Yeah. LOL's nuke. My life is squared away with sushi, good coffee, gym, money, but I still appreciate mattress on the floor game. Hey, you gotta respect it, right? We've all been there. We've all been that. We're like, you're just starting out in life, or you're going through some shit, and all you got is a mattress on the floor. And trust me, girls don't care, right? But they only don't care um if you're in the mindset that you've lost everything and you don't care either, right? There's a certain hurt dog, they want to save you kind of energy going on, and just go with it, guys. And man, oh man, it's just a different type of sex, just letting you guys know. Yeah, we'll get there. Like, maybe one day I'll be divorced and lose everything, and I'll go back to the MOTF, you know. But what's up, Nuclear and Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, Viking? Nice to see you here, sir. All right. So where were we? All right. So don't talk about your exes. Even if don't talk about how good. Even if your ex was good, like I know a lot of guys would be like, well, if I talk about how good she was, then it's gonna make me look good in front of her. Like, not even that, because instantly they'll say, "You still love her, don't you?" And it's just like, how do you pull yourself? There's almost no way to pull out yourself out of that one, right? So don't talk about, like, keep it short, playfully exit that part of the conversation, and then move on, right? Simply Deep, what's your content about so I'll know what to ask you, bring up in the future? Actually, my content is about ramen. You see this stuff? It's about ramen. This is a ramen channel, sir. I make good ramen and I eat it. Or you could look at the title, or you could look at the description of my channel, and you'll figure that out, right? But thank you. Anyways. All right. Okay. Here's one for the oh my god. I hate talking about this one, but it's just avoid talking about future plans. I'm going to say it again. Avoid talking about future plans. Everybody has this weird thing where they think that dating, at least the first couple dates, is about saying, hey, what your expectations are for a stranger that's in front of you. Dating is supposed to be fun. You are not there to plan the future with a stranger. That's like 3 or 4 months down the line, when she's actually invested in you and doesn't want to lose you, right? Genuine desire. Like, hey, I'll do anything to keep you in my life. What do I got to do? And then that's like, okay, you're putting in effort. This is what I want in a relationship with you, right? But for right now, focus on being fun. There is nothing fun about a stranger telling you what their expectations are of you. What is fun? Like, think about it. Remember how I said earlier, put yourself in the shoes of other people? This is one of those things. Imagine you're on a date with a girl, and she told you, hey, like, I want 2 kids, and I want to live in this city, and I want to have this life, and I want to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. What is fun about that? You're just gonna be like, okay, I just met you. Like, where are you from? What do you do for a living? See that, and that makes you feel like you're just you're just a cog or a piece of their dream, that you're not an actual person with your own kind of wants and desires, right? And that's what you're communicating to a girl. Like, stop discussing your future plans, right? Unless it's like your own goals that are lofty ambitions and goals. That's sexy to women, right? Like, I'll tell girls like, hey, um, I have this job, but in the future, if things go right, I may be able to run 2 or 3 data centers, right? And be able to do this in the future. That is good, right? Future plans that only have to do with you and you only, not including the other person, right? You don't talk about how many kids you want, right? You don't talk about, hey, what your expectations are in a wife. No, you don't talk about that, right? That comes later. Don't put the cart before the horse, right? You talk about fun stuff, lighthearted. Keep it light, keep it fun, right? Um, don't put the cart before the horse. So moving on, guys. Uh, like I said before, like I was talking about the Instagram stuff, avoid talking about your unsexy hobbies unless she is into it, right? If you're on a date with a girl and she shows up with anime earrings or an anime shirt, hey, I think talking about anime is on the table, right? But if you're going on a date with a girl, a blonde girl that looks like she goes to the beach and she has big boobs and she doesn't look like the type of girl that watches anime, then probably keep that stuff to yourself, right? And I'm not saying you should be embarrassed of your hobbies. I love my nerdy hobbies, right? And I know some of them are unsexy, right? But um for the most part, keep your unsexy hobbies off the table. You're not going to talk about D&D with a girl you just met unless beforehand through you guys checking each other's Instagram profiles, you say, "Hey, you're actually into D&D too," which is very rare for women, but let's just go with it. Then you're like, you can bring it up and have a conversation about it. And even then, guys, seem like the less interested one in the hobby when you're dating a girl that is into your hobby too, right? You may damn well have watched every anime on Crunchyroll, right? But when she brings up like Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen or Dragon Ball or anything like that, kind of act like, like act like she's the one that she's telling you how to be more interested into the hobby or better at the hobby, right? So like for example, if she's into D&D, you be like, oh, and you're sure for sure more into D&D than she is. Be like, hey, so what kind of dye do you recommend? Like since you're into this stuff, like more like just as much as I am, like what kind of dye do you recommend? It'll get her talking more. It moves away from you being an authority and talking yourself on stuff, which is unsexy, and it gives you a safety net in case you say or act too weird or too into your hobby. If it's a sexy hobby, musician, um, maybe volunteering at the pet shelter, stuff like that, athletic stuff, then women want to see that passion and gleam in your eye when you're talking about that, right? Women really like when I talk about music. Like I can sit down and talk about music psychology for like an hour, right? And she's just like she's just into that because it shows passion, right? But I can't talk about that about Luffy from One Piece, right? Or domain expansion or anything like that on a date with a girl because it's just not a sexy hobby. And I love my nerdy hobbies, but there's a time and place for everything, right? And yes, eventually you're going to be able to talk about your nerdy hobbies and she's going to be absolutely in love with the fact that you love your hobbies. But right? Um that comes later. That's when she's actually invested, right? So, makes sense? All right. You mean I can't talk about my Yu-Gi-Oh card collection? No. Although my piano teacher is super into Yu-Gi-Oh, and sometimes she's like teaching me stuff, and we stop and we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh no, we got to get back on topic, because I'm paying for the lesson. But yeah, you'd be surprised how many girls have nerdy hobbies, right? Like there are girls. I'm trying to think the nerdy hobbies. I know a girl that likes Legos, right? Legos is kind of a nerdy hobby. Uh, that same girl plays Animal Crossing, like would play for hours. And even the Lego set that we built together was an Animal Crossing Lego set. It was like a most adorable date that we did, right? We were already hooking up, but um, we sat down and I played some music and we just built a Lego set. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like building Legos with women it's like it's like a bond. I've never like had like a bonding experience like that. It's almost like it's cooperation with a girl, and I don't know. It just seems like the most cozy thing you could do with a girl is building Legos with her. I don't understand. I don't know if you guys have done it, but if you guys have girlfriends or wives, it's almost like a step above a board game, right? Because board games, there's rules and all that stuff, but Legos, you're just like helping each other. Hey, pass me this piece, or like I think I did it wrong. And then, as you build whatever, you're just looking and laughing and having maybe a drink or two or tea or whatever. And I think it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like a very cozy bonding activity with women, right? I don't know. So try it out, guys. If you're doing well with a chick, buy her a little small Lego set and say, hey, you want to build Legos, and maybe a bottle of wine or something, or some nice lighting and mood lighting in the background, and you got yourself a nice date. Legos are expensive, right? But maybe a small set's like 30-40 bucks. Fun night, stay in, especially now that it's getting cold. But hey, that's a suggestion. So, all right. Julian says, again, know your demographic. Admittedly, I've stepped on my dick plenty of times. Like Nuke said, though, you're not going to pick it up on a day or even a month. It takes time and awareness. Yeah, and even if you stop dating, you still have to get back out there and you got to recalibrate and all that stuff, right? When I take breaks and I get back out there, I be saying dumb stuff. I be still stepping on my dick, and that's just because it's a muscle, right? If you don't exercise it, it gets uncoordinated and soft and all that stuff, right? So, I got laid talking about Egyptian pyramid conspiracies. Yeah, that's actually that's a good challenge. If you guys are good at game, talking about um nerdy hobbies and trying to make it attractive could be a good exercise. I was on a date with a girl and I was talking about the Rolo Tomasi Brittany Venti drama, and the girl was into it. I'm just like, okay. I made it like full of drama, and I didn't use their real names, but like I made it like very dramatic, and there was like legal action involved and all that stuff. And she was into it because girls like drama, girls like, internet fights or beefs or something like that. So I was like, "Oh shit. It could be hard, but it's a fun thing to do." But the girl was already really into me, right? So, you know, proceed with caution. And also alcohol helps too. Alcohol helps. Yeah. Uh all right. So moving on. Okay. Here's another one. Family emergencies and life struggles you're currently going through. Right? If you have a family emergency, like a family member dying or um struggles, like, whatever thing you're going on in your life, you just got that day, you just found out you're unemployed, right? Like your employer drops you or something. Um, you don't want to bring that forefront to the date, right? That'll just bring down the mood. Even if she feels sorry for you, it could just make the date kind of bogged down and negative, right? You're there to have fun. So essentially, while yes, you can use a negative event that you're going through in your life as to spike her emotions, right? Like, so how are you been doing? I'm doing good. Just got to say goodbye to my grandma last week, but it's all good. Oh my God, like you don't want to, like you could spin it, but just be careful with that. Like you don't want to talk about emotional, financial, any struggles that you're currently in your life dealing with, right? You don't want to bring it to the forefront of the date. Um, it just it's not it's not a good thing to like throw that on a person. It could be too much. Women like to do this to us, but we're men. We're designed to handle bad news and chaos and strife, right? So, but don't do it to them. It'll it probably could spike their emotions, but also it could cause her to doubt your ability to handle situations and all that stuff, because you yourself could be emotional, right? And if as soon as you start talking about a family member that died or is dying, you can get emotional too, right? And girls really don't like us when we get emotional, especially when we just meet them at first. So, but just it's just one of those places where you don't want to go there, It's not worth it. Keep your struggles to yourself, and then when you start getting to know her and she shows investment, then you can start opening up a little bit in a masculine way, right? However, if you've had past struggles in your life, right, and that because usually a lot of the days like he asks you about your past, ensure that when you mention your past problems, negative events, struggles, that you always end the story that you came out on top and you figured it out, right? And in a subtle way, right? Hey, my grandma died last year and I had to be there for my mother. So I flew her in and I stayed with her for a week. You see how you presented so many things, right? You presented masculine, kind of like a, for a dominant masculine presence. You took care of business. A family member died. You took care of your mother. That shows competence. That shows that you have an emotional side, a masculine emotional side, meaning responsibility to your mother, right? You flew her out, meaning you made a decision. You had the money to, and that you care about others like that are important to you, and you're saying, hey, you could be part of this in the future, so if you decide to be part of my life, the life of a competent man that takes care of his family, right? There's nothing beta about that, you know. Displaying comfort signals to your mother is not beta, right? But you have to be, don't try to sell it too hard, but like past struggles, whatever you gone through, right, ensure that, hey, you came out on top, because you don't want to be like, yeah, my grandmother died and I was unable to even function for 6 months. That just shows vulnerability and weakness. You don't want to, my grandma died and I had to, and I flew my mom out to be with her because it was rough on her. I'm just glad she's doing better now. That's it. You see the difference between the two is a big difference, right? So your family struggles, make sure if you're going through one right now, keep it to yourself. And if you had one in the past that you're going to bring up on a date, ensure that at the end of that story, right, you come out on top, you handle business in a subtle way, right? And that's going to be only help you, right? Um, I'm not proud of this, but on dates I've talked about how hard it is being a nuke and how I lost some people to mental health, right? Like, not they didn't commit suicide, right? But they checked into a mental hospital and I never saw them again. So I bring that up. It is something important to me, right? But I bring that up and she'll ask me, so how did you deal with it? And I don't give her like I dealt with it because I'm awesome, you know. I give her like, hey, I just I took it day by day. And what something I say is like, women love talking about mental health, so I just bring in the mental health thing, and I'm like, well, we're all subject. I tell them this, like, you don't know what other people are going through, and that was the biggest lesson I got out of this, right? Something like that, very neutral answer, very subtle, right? So again, your past struggles, good, but make sure you have, the end of the story is I overcame it, and I moved on. And then you could playfully exit, but like, I overcame it, and luckily I did because now I get to sit in front of you, or something like that, right? Being playful is always going to save you when you're in a part of the conversation that you don't want to be in, right? Hey, so who are you voting for this year? I don't know. I think I'm going to vote for you to be on a second date with me. Hey, so let me see another one. Uh, so Well, I mean, I already said like 4 examples, right? But you guys get it. Like, there's always a way. Use your noggin, use your brain. There's always a way to exit out of a part of the conversation where she's trying to make you say something stupid to disqualify you, or you know, make you look dumb in a playful way, right? Always default to playfulness, to keeping it light, because a lot of women obviously they don't have game, right? A lot of women just they come to a date with like political issues in their mind, not, hey, I'm going to go meet this guy, and you have to constantly pull her out of that and let her know subtly, hey, I'm not I'm not here to talk politics. I'm not here to talk about social issues. I'm not here to talk about what I'm going through in my life right now. I'm here to have fun, and you're here to have fun too. Like, it's been a rough week. I'm sure you want to relax. I want to relax. and you keep it playful, right? And that takes creativity, that takes thinking on your feet, and that's a skill, right? So it's really good to use, and all that. So let's move on. All right. So this is a short list. Avoid political, social issues. Avoid personal, financial details. Avoid talking about your job unless it's a sexy job. Avoid talking about exes, even if they're good or if they were bad. Don't talk about either. You can screw yourself in either situation. Avoid talking about future plans unless it's like plans, ambitions that you have, nothing to do with her, right? Hey, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? You could give her a playful answer. You could be like, well, in 5 years we should be on our 100th date or something like that. What do you think? At this pace, what pace should we pace our dates at? Something like that, right? Something playful, lighthearted, exaggerated. Or you could just be like, hey, if things go well, hopefully, I'll be able to do this. Something ambitious, something cool, but never, hey, I want 5 kids and I want to be married. Like none of that crap. Nothing that involves her. So remember, girls don't want to be part of your happiness. They don't want to complete you. They want to enjoy your completeness. So, all right. Yeah, and then avoid talking about unsexy hobbies. Um, and then later on, you can talk about your hobbies, and it will have the same effect as a sexy hobby. It's just she needs a little bit more investment before she thinks that your Friday night anime watching is cool, right? Family emergencies and life struggles, keep that to yourself. We were just talked about that. There's more. I'm probably missing more stuff, right? I don't want to keep you guys too long, but for the most part, there's more stuff, right? Like don't talk about other women. Obviously, like the dumb stuff, like don't talk about other women you're seeing. Don't talk about super sexual escapades. Don't. What's another one? I just had it in my brain. Anyway, sure. Yeah, there's probably more stuff, right? But this is just a good, quick primer on how to like avoid topics of what not to say on a date, and see how just with that small list that I gave you guys, you already it kind of your brain likes the fact that it eliminates these huge kind of topics and like holes you can dig yourself. Now you know what to avoid, and if she pulls you into this, you can just be playful and have a line ready, right? I have lines for any of these situations. Whenever, like for example, if it's like something like a political issue, especially that affects women, just agree with her, right? That's what I do. It served me well, and then you move on, right? I know a lot of you guys are just like, no, I tell her what I want, and it's just like, hey guys, like women don't even have politics, right? They have politics based on their emotions, right? And if her emotion is, I like this guy, and I want to marry him, then she'll have your politics, right? So don't don't take her too seriously on that. Just pull yourself out. I just agree. For financial details, again, if she asks you, so what do you do for a living? You if it's a sexy job, you kind of say, hey, yeah, I'm a firefighter, or hey, yeah, I'm a lawyer, or a doctor, or whatever, and she'll want to know more. Have your story ready about your job. Don't oversell your job. Don't oversell yourself. Uh, and if it's not sexy, just say, yeah, I work in IT, electrical engineering, or whatever. And she's like, okay, cool. With that, it says enough. It says he has a boring job, but it's stable, and he probably makes good money because look where he lives, or look how he's dressed, or look where I'm at. So yeah. Um, Essentially, okay, so avoid talking about exes. Even if you say something good about your ex, she's gonna be like, "Oh, you're still in love with her then?" If you say something bad about your ex, she's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy couldn't handle her," or what if he thinks about like that about me? Because I'm sort of like he's describing his ex, and it sounds like me. Women are solipsistic, so avoid. Just get out of there, right? So, how long have you been single? Oh, 6 months. How was your ex like? She was good, but we went our separate ways. It's just whatever. Not everything works out. I wish her the best and move on. Right. Um, And yeah, avoid talking about family emergencies and life struggles. Yeah, like we already talked about that one. So yeah, guys, like you need to pull yourself out of these things because women will try to force you almost to like say something stupid. It's a game, right? It's like it's chess, right? You have to be 2 steps ahead. You gotta know that most women ask you the same things, and you gotta have something canned, ready to go to fire off when she says it, and you'll be in the clear. Um, just with this short list, you're way ahead of the majority of men who date. Eliminating what not to say is such an easy, less neurotic way to approach the concept of game. As you become more experienced, the list becomes more nuanced. You'll notice specific conversation infractions, such as mentioning to Asian women on dates that you prefer Asian women. That's a common one, right? One of the biggest complaints from Asian women when they date is that they are afraid that the guy they're on a date with fetishizes them. And you may damn well fetishize them. I don't blame you guys. Like Asian women are pretty awesome, pretty good in the sack. And if you're the type if you're the type of guy that likes their features, they have very pretty features, right? And that's a me thing. But you never on a date want to allow an Asian woman to believe that you're there because you fetishize her, right? And this is a tough one, for especially, and I figured out a way to kind of pass the Asian woman shit test, which is, she says like, so do you prefer Asian women or something? And you just say, hey, like usually I get liked by Vietnamese girls, and I've dated 2 in the past, and I guess there's a lot of similarities in our culture or something like that. You see how I made it more about like they're the ones choosing me, and I just kind of it's based on similar lived experiences, not because I'm on 4chan and I'm not weird and I'm a weeboo or whatever. There are ways around these shit tests, guys. You just gotta kind of be creative, kind of think, come up with something, trade notes with me. Maybe you guys have a response for when you're stuck in these shit tests, right? Because it's a very common shit test. And I understand because like it's creepy. It's creepy for Asian women to be fetishized. Obviously, men, we're fetishized too. Like as a Latino man, I am fetishized because the Latin lover kind of thing. Same thing with like Latinas, they fetishize tall white men, right? Um, there was my my Korean friend. She brought her friend from Norway. A guy was like 6'3", wearing a cowboy hat, blue eyes. Guy looked like a model, right? Super nice guy, right? And when we took our eyes off him once, and we looked back, and there was 3 chubby Latinas just circling around him, just talking to him, right? And I'm just like, yeah, Latina women fetishize um men from that region of the world with blue eyes and that are tall, right? And that for guys, we don't have to worry about that because we are the stronger sex. We don't, we don't have that feeling that we're going to get followed. We are not scared of being followed by hot women. We're like, oh no, being followed by hot women. Oh no, no, we don't have to worry about that, right? So that's why Asian women are like kind of creeped out by guys that fetishize them because it shows it's just weird, right? So make sure that you have something ready for that if you choose to date Asian women, right? And they'll appreciate you for it. It's tough, right? Because I want to say like, hey, I think Vietnamese women are beautiful. I want to say that. And if the girl's really into me like that, if she's like holding my hand and saying you're kind of sexy, like on a date, then I've out sorry. I'm full Chad mode right now. She thinks I'm a Chad. So I have a lot more leeway and I have more things to play with here and more freedom because I understood in her eyes, hey, there's not much I can say to ruin this right now. So I can feel more relaxed, which is gonna happen as the day progresses. As the drinks start hitting, as she starts being more convinced that she's gonna let you smash if you say the right things, she's going to start opening up and being investing through Kino, like touching you, um, words, divulging secret stuff about her family. Um, like there have been 1 or 2 women that have on a date said, "Hey, I'm actually a virgin." And at that point, I'm like, yeah, that's not something women usually admit on a first date. They don't admit that until you're actually having sex. with them, right? So you may feel in your gut, right, your instinct, like, hey, I can tell this woman something crazy because she's like she has the puppy dog eyes and she's holding my hands, right? And um I looked at her cleavage 3 times and she didn't even catch me, or she didn't even care. Like, okay, I'm in where I'm supposed to be, right? But in the beginning, when the anxiety is still there and she doesn't know who you are yet, on the date, kind of be a little bit more careful with what you say. Um, yeah, no, I just usually I match with Vietnamese girls. Usually they like me on Hinge, so um, I don't know. I don't really see race. I just see it like we just maybe it's maybe cultural. I'm not sure. Just play dumb, right? Play dumb. That works too, playing dumb and all that stuff. But you have to be, righteous about it. Like, hey, I don't know. I just, I like what I like. I go after what I want in life, something like that. So yeah. Um. All right. Another one is when it comes to race is calling all Latinas Mexican. Man, do the Latinas hate this one, right? Um, I had a female friend that said she had a blue check slide into her DMs, and she was telling me like how he's like rattling off all these stereotypes about her race, or something like that. And yeah, she was Mexican, but like he was talking like a very condescending way about um her country, her people, right? And because Latinos, we have been a lot of the comic relief in media, right? Not anymore, but we used to be, and it's kind of under like a lot of Americans don't take us seriously, right? Because we move our hips when we dance, and the women are spicy and all that stuff. Um, so he had a lot of preconceived notions about her race and all that stuff, and this is one of those things where, like, again, guys step on their own dick. You Latino women are incredibly proud, sorry, of their culture. They love their culture. Look at soccer games. There's hot Latinas at these giant soccer stadiums flashing and waving flags, and their flags are painted on their face, and they say viva whatever country, viva Nicaragua or viva Brazil or whatever. They really love their culture. All you got to do if you're on a date with a hot Latina is not make fun or not make assumptions or not confuse her with another race. Even me, which I pretty much know every Latin country, I can name every single Latin country. A friend of mine, I confused her for being Honduran when she was really Nicaraguan, right? And she got a little annoyed at that, right? So for you guys that like Latinas, make sure that do a little research. If she says, "Hey, I'm from Costa Rica," do not say, "Oh, so you're Puerto Rican, right?" That's a little annoying, right? "Hey, you're from Puerto Rico, right?" "No, I'm Dominican," right? Obviously, most people are nice and clarify for you, if you're a super gringo, right? But it helps, right, to not rattle off stereotypes that you're not sure about, or kind of assuming, hey, because she's Mexican and or because she's Puerto Rican, she must like tacos. Completely off. Puerto Ricans do not eat tacos, not at all, right? But if you do a little bit of research and say less, not more, shut your mouth and let her talk about her culture, then you will get much farther and she will like you more. Trust me, as a Latino guy, please take this on board, because a lot of my female friends, yes, they like white guys, maybe they like black guys, or maybe they like Americanized guys, right? But they all find it annoying, right, when a guy does not care about their culture, or um, continuously confuses and says stupid stereotypes about their culture, right? And you want to avoid that. Saying less is more. How about this instead? Ask her, hey, so I did a little research on your country. So what's the weather like? You just like have her talk about, because Latinas love talking about their home country. They love it. They absolutely love it. They can rattle off, right? And then just seem genuinely interested, right? Like, hey, so, and then you'll be playful. So like, when are we going? Like, I want to go now. Are you a travel agent? You're trying to, like, That's smart. That's a smart thing to do. I don't know how many times, especially for the brothers in the chat, the black guys in the chat. The A lot of times, especially black men, they just they love Latinas, right? Who doesn't? But they cannot get out of like considering Latino culture comic relief or funny, right? And it's like, dude, I go to salsa night. There's Latinas there, right? Hot Latinas sometimes. And I always see a black guy, just completely like, dripped out. It could be, thugged out or like dripped out, like look like a pimp almost, right? Tall, 6'2" guy, not unattractive. And he just looks at everyone dancing. And then to my left, I see one of the guys I see at Salsa Night, who's also a black guy, in Jordans, cargo shorts, military cargo shorts, a t-shirt, right? And a backwards cap, dancing with like a 5'11" Latina girl, thin Latina girl, right? That black guy decided, I'm going to learn this cultural dance instead of observing it from far away because I like Latinas. He decided to put in the work, get over like, hey, I like this culture. I like the woman from this place. What do I got to do to get closer to them and not seem like a weirdo or too masculine or too brutish, right? Same thing with whatever type of demographic women you like. Think, hey, Asian women don't like to be fetishized. So how do I come up with something, a phrase or a word where she feels comfortable enough that I don't fetishize, like I don't have yellow fever, which you damn well may have. But hey, dude, you got to find a way on a first date and within the first 15 minutes, prove to her, hey, I'm not actually obsessed with Asian women. I don't watch hentai. I don't like Asian women because I watch anime. I like Asian women because they like me. That's what you got to go with, right? So it takes creativity, guys. I don't have all the answers, right? But you guys have brains. I have a brain. We can pool our answers together and we can be like, hey, this is what I say, it works. And here's the funny part about that. Later on, a lot of Asian women, I'm not gonna say a lot, right? The ones I've dated were kind of into the fact that I liked them. They were like, "Oh, that's kind of hot," but that's because they were invested. They liked me. They saw me naked. I saw them naked, and it's a different, right? So never put the cart before the horse. And if you take away anything from this show, is that a lot of guys when they're dating, right? They put the cart before the horse. I want 4 kids. No, that's like 3 or 4 months in when you start having unprotected sex, and she's like she's your girlfriend or becoming your girlfriend, right? No. Hey, I like Asian women. No, that's when you're discussing kinks in the bedroom, and she's like, "Hey, what are you into?" You could be like, "I like the fact that I'm brown and you're yellow," and she'll be like, "That's kind of hot. Let's do that. Let's go with that." Right? And that actually happened to me, right? And that's the difference between guys that are frustrated, black pill, and the guys that play the game, that don't think they're above the game, that play by the rules. These are the rules. This is what you don't say. This is what you do say. And this is what you may say if the opportunity and the environment is right. How do I know when? You practice. Congratulations, dude. Like any other skill, you practice. And you don't have to sleep with 50 women. You don't have to sleep with one. You have to sleep with enough where you feel comfortable. Like, hey, I've had enough. I found my hot Thai girlfriend. I found my hot Colombian girlfriend. I found my tall 5'10" redhead chick or whatever that I wanted. Right? Because that's the point. This is all not to prove for you to prove yourself to me or me to prove myself to you. This is so all we can get together and be like, hey, this worked for me. Try it out. Oh, it did. Oh, you're happy now. Cool. Invite me to the wedding. Just kidding. You don't have to invite me to the wedding. But if you do, I like weddings. So you guys are getting married. Let me know. I will fly out. Except for Jack. I don't think Jack's ever going to get married. Jack's going to get married to Rob, I think. You're an American to me. No, yeah, I am pretty American. I could switch it up, but I only switch it up around like my family and like my Hispanic friends. So I'm his plus one. Yeah, Jack, if you want to be my plus one for a wedding, I'm all for it. I was actually my best friend's plus one for a wedding, but he's just like, dude, it's all the Navy guys. It's one of our Navy friends getting married, so it's like we all got to go, right? I'd rather take you than some chick that I just met. So I'm like, All right, let's fucking go. We went to West Virginia and saw. It was it was like the most fun wedding I've been to. It was hilariously fun, dude. But anyways, yeah. Said a lot there. Like I tweeted the other day, you're not so awesome that you can brute force insults and racial insensitivity into a conversation with the woman on a first, right? You know, eventually you can make fun of your Asian girlfriend for liking rice. That's hilarious. Like I see like Instagram reels where like interracial couples where, you know, it's like part of the brand is them making fun of each other's race, right? I think it's adorable. Um, like for example, there's this interracial couple that's a white guy and a Puerto Rican girl. And you know, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, we love our plantains. We like that's like the staple of our diet, right? Um, and he says, "My girlfriend, I'm gonna play a trick on my girlfriend where I give her flowers and then I give her, you know, a whole bunch of like, you know, a hand of plantains, right? A huge hand of plantains to see the difference in reaction, right? So he gives her the flowers and she's like, "Oh, thank you." You know, like, this could be fake, it could be contrived, but let's just say it's real. And then she's like, "Oh, thank you." But then when he pulls out from behind the couch like 30 green plantains, right? She's like overjoyed. She's like about to cry in happiness, right? And that's like something that's, you know, you're making fun of a stereotype that we like plantains, and that's the, you know, how excited we are about food and all that stuff, right? But that only happens because she's invested in you, right? So the racial humor, the stuff you see on Twitter where we're constantly making jokes about race, which is hilarious, right? I like, just like any other guy, especially military guy, I have plenty of jokes, right? But keep that shit on a first, second, third date away from the date. It's not time for that, right? Make sure that if you're dating a Honduran woman, that you don't confuse her for Mexican. You know, like the racial insensitivity is not sexy to women. It is not on the first date. When she is blowing you 3 times a week, it is starting to get funny. She's invested, she cares. So she likes being made fun of, right? I know every guy who dates knows this, you know, and there's some spurgs that don't. So, yeah. Hey, what's up, my friend? We got Gene Simon LaRose in the house. Member from One More. Hey, what's up, bro? Where did you get that barrel? Looks nice. Okay, so on Facebook, you're gonna go on Facebook Market. Are you in the United States? I don't know if you guys have Facebook Market in your country. I don't know if I think you're French, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You're gonna go on Facebook Market. You're gonna look up wooden barrels, right? There's gonna be all these weird things. Some warehouses, right? Especially like, you know, like this is a whiskey barrel, TX whiskey. Um, they're gonna be selling them off. They have excess barrels. They want to get rid of them. They're old, right? So what you do is you search them on Facebook Market. I bought this for $70, right? But that was in 2021. And then make sure it fits in your car too, because they're kind of like awkward. And then you just go to the warehouse, pick it up, and you put it in your house, right? Make sure it's not like, you know, broken or like there's not termites or anything in it. The only thing is that the floor under the barrel, it could get damaged over time, right? So what I did is I bought like this barrel dolly. It's like a circular metal thing that fits like the size of the barrel on it with wheels, right? So I could wheel around my barrel. So for example, if I want to bring this barrel closer to me, right, it's on wheels, right? As I don't have to like awkwardly move it, and it doesn't damage the floor, especially for you guys that have houses and paid for your expensive floors. And it's pretty cool. The only thing is it's just awkward to use as a table, but it's great to like if you want to put your laptop on it, watch TV, and work on your laptop while standing up, or if you want to serve something or use it as like a place to serve coffee and all that stuff. It's very versatile, and I think it's a great investment. It makes your apartment look, you know, cooler, I guess. So highly recommend. And yeah, they're kind of heavy. They're like 70, 80 pounds, right? It's wood and metal, so you know. And it hasn't deteriorated, right? The top can get stained. There's see some stains on it. Um, so you want to make sure that you like anything that, you know, clean it up right away. I don't know how to clean wood stains on rough surfaces. Maybe you guys know. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty cool accessory to your house. And whenever you move out, it's on wheels. So you just push it on the wheels out your house, or out to the elevator. So yeah. Anyways. All right. So basically I end the article saying, keep it to yourself. When the Latina has slept with you a couple times, she will understand your confusion to where she is from and happy to explain. The Asian girl will eventually find your yellow fever endearing and even think it's hot. This only happens if you shut the fuck up about things mentioned above and focus on being amusing and exciting to your date. It all boils down to this. All game discourse usually focuses on lines, mindset, whatever the fuck that means, and nomenclature like what a neg is or a shit test is, which is fine. But the first step should always be, how do I not say something stupid? Process of elimination is what your brain wants you to do. Start there. So that's directly from my Substack article. So yeah, like I said in the beginning, game discourse, right? Like in public forums like Twitter Space, YouTube, whatever, right? Oh, hey, Leno, what's up? You get one of these, man?
Howdy, fellas.
What was I saying? Yeah, you threw me off with this comment. Oh, man, damn it. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so game discourse online, it focuses on weird shit. Like, obviously you wanna know what a neg is, you wanna know how to employ it, you wanna know how to recognize it, you wanna know what a shit test is, obviously, right? But I don't think you wanna start there, right? With how little guys are socializing, especially the young Zoomer guys, with how little they're socially calibrating, they're out there, they're spending so much time online that they're forgetting how to interface with people and what things you don't say. Think about this. You meet a stranger in an elevator. You meet a stranger at work. You meet a stranger while you're walking your dog or doing whatever. Think about things that stranger would say that you don't want them to talk to you about, right? Obviously, there's things that they would say that bore you to death, but like absolutely you don't want to talk about. Like if a stranger came up to you and said, "That's a cute dog. My dog died. Here's a story of how my dog died yesterday." And you're like, "Wait a minute, hold up, dude. Like I just met you. Like why are you telling me about this sad story? I mean, it sucks, right? But why are you telling me about the sad story?" Or you meet a stranger on the street and they're just like, I'm gonna show you this cool watch that I bought. Look how expensive it is. It's a Rolex. You're gonna be like, dude, like, why are you talking to me about your watch? I don't care how much money you make. Hello, how are you doing? And think about that. Part of social calibration is putting yourself in other people's shoes. What do they want to talk about? And it's a struggle, guys. Humans, we're inherently selfish with our problems, our perspective. We all think we're the main character. But when you're gaming women, you have to put yourself in the shoes of someone else and think, hey, is saying this something that I would want to hear about? Why would she? And then you think, what would you want to talk about your best friend with? Or what topics would you talk about with your best friend with? And you think almost anything. And why is that? Because your best friend knows you. They're invested in you. They care about you. You see the difference? So treat women on dates like strangers. They're not there to plan your future. They're not there to, to make future plans about marriage and relationships and moving somewhere and all that stuff, right? You're there to just make a quick conversation, maybe get laid, and have a good time, right? She will throw stuff at you that will kind of be like, holy shit, like this is just the first date, relax. But maybe it could be guys that maybe your game is getting so good that while she's holding your hand really tight, she's talking about how, her grandmother passed a month ago, right? Maybe you're just good at getting people to open up. And while you get people to open up, you keep your mystery about you. And by the end of the date, whether you get laid or not, she's going to be like, wow, that guy knows so much about me and I know almost nothing about him. And that's exactly what you want. Say less than necessary. It's not worth it to just put everything out there. It's boring, right? Women on Twitter or on social media will fight against this. Like men should be honest and forthcoming, blah, 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 say this, say that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. The power of shut the fuck up is a superpower. it gets you very far in life. Not lying, just omitting things that could get you in trouble or not get you the right outcome. There is a time and place to be forthcoming, but it's not with a stranger on a first date. As a matter of fact, they don't want you to be honest and forthcoming. So why would you be? You know? Yeah, I got my own side. I got another one.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah. So my least favorite shit test was when a plate put on one of Jack's audiobooks while we were driving, had to ghost after that. Damn.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
W. Grimm.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
God. If you're in Quebec, it could happen, but because of restriction and trade law, we are not available outside of Canada. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, that's where I got the barrel. I mean, there should be lots of barrels. You guys have a Crown, right? Like there should be whiskey barrels all around you guys in Quebec, right? So she was never the same again. It's a family video we are in. Okay, let's see. Say MOTF 5 times into a mirror and copy of Nuke's upcoming book will ship to your home. Oh, I guess. So guys, you guys have any questions, any super chats you want to leave, let me know and I'll answer them, you know. I'll give you guys a second. Let me just keep going with my ramen here. Hopefully it hasn't gotten too cold, but you know. I was just smoking cigars earlier and I think I pulled too much and it kind of made me like I say like it just made me hungry or something. Like I needed to fill my stomach with something. But yeah, guys, good times. Starting the hell up is so awesome. It really gets you far in life. It's hard. Like it really is hard. Like I want to tell women that I'm having a hard time with something in my life, right? Because the alcohol, a sweet girl that's smiling, holding your hand, and all that stuff. As guys, like when we go through shit, like we just want a hot chick to hear us out. I get it. You know, it's like that movie Blade Runner. What a day. You look tired, you know, whatever the screen says, right? And you know, guys, we have this bad habit of just dumping, you know, personal details on a date. Don't do that. So, yeah, say less. Social media is a big one too. Like I've lost 2 dates because of social media, or I've gotten in trouble almost with social media. Keep it to yourself. Ensure that when you're going to post something on your public social media, right now your Twitter's, you know, free game, or it's a battlefield. Just post whatever you want. Who cares? But on your public social media, you know, maybe don't post you at a strip club or something like that, right? Maybe that could be seen as like, hey, like this guy's kind of like into whores or something like that, right? No disrespect to my stripper ladies, you know, it's just a perception. Maybe don't post, you know, don't post political opinions that much, right? I personally just like to post political memes because political memes right now are amazing. You know, they're all political memes right now are some of the top tier memes right now. So you don't want to advertise or disqualify yourself. Less is more. The more guys talk, the higher chance you have to disqualify yourself from a woman. And you even ask women this, like, oh, I was on a date, but then he started talking about Bitcoin and it bore me to death. I'm like, wow. You know, and I was on a date and he started talking about gun rights. And I'm like, wow. Guys, and the thing is, you'll stand out by let's see, you'll stand out, right? By muscles, dressing well and all that stuff. But the thing that's gonna make you stand out the most from all these other chumps, right, that are dating is knowing what not to say. And that's why this show is so important. It's because this is one of those key things that we don't really discuss that much in detail. We just say, don't talk about politics, right? But what if she pulls you into a political question or conversation? Don't talk about your financial situation. You know, what if she asks you what you do? Like, these are things that could pull the conversation in a boring, stupid kind of quagmire of just monotony, right? And you need a way out of that, right? There's a strategy, the art of war. Dating is the art of war. So do these things and you'll be all right. So, hey, a penny for the tip jar. Here you go.
Thank you so much! Best friend!
All right, Gene Simon LaRose with the $2 Canadian. A penny for the tip jar. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a member, too. Lose 2 dates on social media, gain 30. Elena's Bear Fitness says, Nuke, Jack, join us on one of the Saturdays if you can. I'll send you an invitation link and we'll have fun. What do you want to talk about, Elena? What's the topic? Or what's your next topic? Sorry, I just some really good ramen. Yeah, I mean, been getting invited. Glenn's invited me on. This guy named Tom Foolery. You guys know who Tom Foolery is? He wants to do a red pill panel or something. But yeah, I don't have a lot of patience sometimes to do shows because like I tell you what, guys, it's tough working so hard on myself and getting over my hangups over years. Even to this day, I'm still working on my hangups and dealing with the current state of just everything, right? And going to talk to people that haven't gotten over those hangups and are very righteous about certain things, it kind of makes me sad and depressed. I'm not going to say depressed, right? I'm going to say like it kind of just disappoints me because it reminds me of a person that I don't want to be anymore, and that it made me kind of, like when I was on Purple Pill podcast and Sergio kicked off those girls, I genuinely felt like shit, right? I was like, those girls were being polite, and it's just like you kept berating them. They weren't disrespectful to me. They even let me drink their bottle of alcohol. Like they brought a bottle of alcohol to the studio, and they served me drinks, right? And I'm just like, it's obviously his show, and he runs it how he wants, but it's that, like, I worked really hard to be able to have fun with any girl of any background and to just chill and relax. And seeing that kind of it took me back to a time where I was frustrated, right? And I've never had that much trouble. Once like I got my head out of my ass in my mid-20s, I never had that much trouble with women. But there was times where I was very frustrated, right? Because I couldn't control them or they were evil, right? But I still dated. And to see that displayed in front of me at a level, it kind of just made it just I got to see like a version of myself that I worked really hard to get rid of, and it kind of like made me very disappointed and angry. Not angry, but just frustrated. So yeah, that's why I'm very careful on what shows I go on because I don't want to like go on a show and they're just like, "These women, am I right?" I'm just like, dude, like. Dude, I don't have the energy to be mad at 50% of the human population. Like I can't do that anymore. It's just tiring. I'm exhausted. You know, I have like I go to my bachata nights, my dance nights, and those women are bringing me water. We take selfies together. They may even introduce me to their friends. They're very nice. Like, and I just want every guy, like, not even about the getting laid crap, right? I just want every guy to find peace to the point where he surrounds himself and at least gets to experience once in a while the best women have to offer outside of a relationship. And you'll see, and it's not going to make you have a perfect kind of like women are actually awesome. No, it's going to make you have a grounded, neutral view on women to the point where just like, there's good women and there's bad people and there's good people, right? That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing more to discuss, right? And women are just dealing with the market pressure that they're dealing with for their dating market, and you are dealing with it yourself. And as long as you have boundaries, right, and you forgive yourself when you mess up with women, then you're not going to feel much about them. You're not going to feel like they're good. You're not going to feel like they're evil. You're just going to be like, yeah, it's just a chick, right? And who's in whose frame, right? When you're constantly angry at women, right? Or what they do. you're in their frame still. You're still pedestalizing them. And a lot of guys, after a while, and they get this stuff, and they finally don't feel like mad at women, or like want to worship them, like put them on a pedestal. They feel like a void, right? Because their whole life they have an extreme feeling about women, both ends. Like they hated them and they loved them, and they loved them and then they hated them or whatever. And the truth is, like, you're gonna feel void once you completely have zero kind of like feeling about women. Did you see this woman did this? She sucked 100 dicks. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's one of the reasons, I go to these dance nights, right? Not so much to just be, creep around women with my dancing skills, right? It's so I can see, at least give myself the chance to see women on their best behavior, in good behavior, right? Women that like, hey, you look, hey Nuke, you look thirsty. Here's some water. You want me to bring you water or something? Hey Nuke, let's take a selfie. Or hey Nuke, let's dance. And then you dance with them. You're like, you're so good. I love dancing with you, right? Nothing sexual. It's just like, hey, I like doing this thing with you. You're improving so much or whatever, right? And even within that, you'll still see bad behavior. You'll still see women that say, hey, I actually like you. Let's go out on a date. And then they talk to 4 other guys and get their numbers too right in front of you, right? You see that. But the point is, I do it mostly because I need myself in order, because I make content, because I'm online, I have to be exposed to terrible opinions to the point where it's just like normal women saying all men should die or something like that. I need to go out in the real world and see real women and how they treat men. Not even men they're having sex with, just men that they see at a place often. And that's what every guy needs eventually. They need that they need that kind of like experience, right? Because if your whole life you're mad at ladies, right? Those years you never get back. You're gonna find a girl that's really good, and you're gonna be like, man, women aren't so bad. It's just I needed a good girl. I just wanted a good person, and it's just like then you'll realize like you don't dislike women, you dislike bad people, and bad people is what you're shown everywhere you go. The toxic women, and then you go to places where women are on their worst behavior, like a club, right? Instead of like, hey, a salsa night where women are dressed elegant, they're in heels, they're in nice dresses, they're having fun, they're saying thank you for the dance, right? And you get to see, wow, like there's just levels to this. Like, and that same girl could go to the club and be an absolute bitch to the men that are hitting on her, right? And then you start really realizing, oh, I'm achieving amused mastery. Oh, I'm above this. I'm above all of this. I just I just learned how to achieve amused mastery, and that's looking at an animal, looking at a human being, a woman, looking at a thing, knowing that, hey, this dog when it's hungry, it's gonna be bitchy. This woman when it's in the club is gonna be bitchy. But if I feed the dog and I treat it well, or I put the dog with other dogs that are also well trained, it's gonna act better. If a woman is in a place where she is required to be classy, or else she's kicked out or seen as like weird, then she's gonna be on her best behavior. And in order to understand that, you have to have amuse mastery and experience women in different environments. But that's a show for another day. So yeah, most guys aren't meeting girls in general, good or bad. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, Tom got banned off of YouTube for 2 weeks. Might be careful with that one. Didn't you do a show with tomfoolery, Jack? Yeah, I'm improving. I need to come up with some new moves because I think I'm getting stale in my dancing. So I need to come up with 2 moves. I've just been so busy. But maybe this Wednesday I'll test. You can always ask the girls, hey, can I? I'm learning something new, so please bear with me or whatever. They won't mind. So, hey, Red Pill TRM. Let me give you one of these. Sorry.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Our dancing class is salsa night, only one style. I mean, when they're advertised, usually they'll say the style, like there's urban bachata or there's I don't remember the different bachatas specifically. And then salsa has like on 1 and on 2, depending on like the steps. So it should be advertised in their flyers for the salsa classes. What type of, I know divided by class, like, hey, 7 p.m. urban bachata, 8 p.m. like, maybe more romantic bachata, 9 p.m. we have salsa, this type of salsa, and all that stuff. So yeah, it should be well explained in a legit dance studio what type of salsa. But if you're starting out, just anything will do. It's just you're trying to your steps, learn the steps, and stay on beat and all that stuff. But yeah, I always prefer salsa nor bachata. Oh yeah, salsa's classier. It's classier. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's more acrobatic too. Bachata's closer and all that. So. Yeah, I did last year. He was okay. I DM'd you on Twitter. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you did, right? Again, it's not them, it's me. I have a patience issue. Like I'm not gonna talk about something. I want to have a high IQ conversation, right? I don't want to delve into people's personal insecurities with women because we all have them. I still have personal insecurities with women. I still have hangups. I'm a human being. I'm not Spock. Like I have emotions. That's the reason I share my stories. And a lot of the times when I share my stories, I don't always come out on top. I come out a little emotionally dysregulated. I come out a little bit. It may seem to like for the average person that I am hurt, right? And it's just like, listen, part of life is that you don't get to go through life unscathed. You're gonna meet women that mess with you, right? um and at all levels, right? There's gonna be absolute gorgeous model like women that you have on your lap, right? And you're kissing them, maybe their boobs are out, you're having a good time, and you're just like, wow, I can't in your mind you're like, wow, I can't believe I scored this chick. And then you're never gonna see her again the next day, and it's gonna mess with you for like a week. You're like, wow, I had it. It was right here and just slipped out of my fingers, right? Or you're gonna meet a girl and date casually, and you're gonna be like, "Nah, I don't have feelings for this girl. I'm a G," right? And then she's gonna leave, and you're gonna be like, "Well, I really missed this girl more than I thought," right? And that's part of the growing process. Um, you're a human being. You're a guy. You're not infallible. And part of what's gonna make you the best with women is for, like I said, like I always say, is forgiving yourself. You're gonna make mistakes. It's whatever, you know. In my hood, we do more bachata. Okay, let's keep going.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Jean Simon LaRose with a $2 Canadian. In my hood, we do more bachata. Yes, bachata is not seen as classy as salsa, but it's still, it's definitely romantic. It's more romantic than it used to be. It's very romantic and all that stuff. Julian, did I read your super chat? I don't remember if I did. I'll just do it again.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Julian Reyes with a $2, our esteemed member. Here's another penny. Thanks you, sir. I appreciate it. Anyways. Admittedly, I've not looked into it, but how much would dance lessons range? I was paying $70 for 4, I think. It could have gone up. That was 2 years ago. But yeah, I was paying $70 for 4 lessons a month. There's also free lessons. A lot of places give free lessons before a night, and it's just like you got to pay a cover charge like $10 and all that. There's always YouTube, right? You can go to a salsa night and you maybe practice some steps, and if you have some balls, you can go out and be like, ask a girl like, "Hey, I'm learning how to dance. Can you help me?" And she'll, don't keep her there for like 4 songs, right? It's like quick song. Thank you. I just needed to practice, and then like maybe in a month you'll start being able to like loosen up a little bit. So yeah. Instagram is your friend, Facebook is your friend, because a lot of local events in your city get marketed through Instagram. So try that. Not that bad almost. I think you're in San Antonio, right, Julian? So yeah, you should have plenty of. There's a lot of Latinos out there, so there's probably plenty of salsa nights and all that stuff. And yeah, just go with an open mind. You're gonna look dumb at first. No one's really judging you. And yeah, have a good time. And then when you get pretty good, you're gonna be looking forward all week to your salsa nights, your bachata nights. You're gonna meet good people, and then once in a while, you meet a really hot chick. You know. I don't really use it to funnel as a source for women, because like I said, it's just my little positive event, like my positive, the thing that keeps me positive about people, because it's just such a good place where I get to see the best of women, just kind, polite women that just want to dance and all that stuff. Obviously, it's going to be sprinkled in with some like shitty, like, you're going to have women that are, married, kind of like rubbing up on you. Those are the most aggressive, most touchy feely women at salsa nights are married women, um, and all that. It's, that's not the great part of female nature, right? But it also proves that you're probably attractive yourself. So, it's a double-edged sword there. You're gonna see women that are just like uh saying, "Hey, thank you, you're such a good dancer, you're so hot," or whatever, and then you're gonna see them get Instagrams from four other guys right in front of you. Or you're gonna see women that say, "Hey, I'm not dancing tonight," or I'm taking a break," and then 10 seconds later, another guy asks her to dance, and she's like, "Yeah." Right? And that, I'm not saying that's like the worst thing ever, but it kind of it's analogous to the dating game where, you just don't take it personally and you just move on, right? And then even once I was dancing, this only happened once, but it still creeped me out, where I was dancing with a girl and my hand landed on the small of her back, right? Which is normal. And as you guys see on all the videos, the girls they want that contact. They want to be felt and touched up. This girl, she raised my hand and I thought, no big deal. And then she did it like 3 times while we were dancing, right? And then after that, I'm never asking her to dance again. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. No woman has ever done that, right? So something was wrong with this chick. And this chick is kind of weird. She doesn't really socialize. I mean, she's there, she's part of the group, but it kind of like weirded me out. And I can see it's analogous to the dating game where there's just some women who they engage in these physical activities, where, hey, my hand may land on the small of your back. It's not because I'm trying to grab your ass. No, like, this and I know this. It's because it's dancing. It's a physical activity where we're touching each other, right? And I understand you don't want to be touched there, but at the same time, it's just like we're dancing. It's like, we're gonna rub up against each other a little bit, but you know how it is, right? So, hey, $5 super chat. Let's give you.
Thank you so much, best friend.
Mojo Money Major, Triple M with the $5. What's your preferred funnels to source women dating in your 30s compared to when you were younger? When I was younger, obviously dating apps were, especially being in the military, I didn't go out a lot. I didn't like to drink because I always had to work and all that stuff. So, yeah, so dating apps when I was younger, dating apps were still pretty awesome. When I was in my late 20s, early 30s, like up until 33, that's when dating apps sharply declined. So right now, funnels, obviously there's my dance nights, even though I'm not really dating per se. I'm just kind of like, focusing on content, work, and socializing, all that stuff. But my preferred funnel is always going to be dating apps. For the filtering aspect, right? You can filter by age on Hinge, I think for free. I don't know if it's still free, but uh, you can filter by age, race. If you like brown women, you could just be like, hey, Southeast Asian, South Asian, and Latina. There you go, brown women. If you like black women or white women or whatever you like, you can filter by race. You can filter by age, location, so many things, right? That's the great thing about dating apps. And a lot of guys are like, well, I never have success on dating apps. Like, first off, make sure your pictures are good, right? Like, you got to put a little effort because it's how many calories do you burn swiping on dating apps? Almost zero, right? So why are you complaining about something that requires zero effort on your end, right? It's a little lame to do that, right? So just take it for what it is. It's a cheat code. It's a hack. You were never supposed to be able to have that much access to women. So just don't worry about it. There's a dance nights, right? But you got to be careful with that one. You don't want to talk to the wrong girl that goes to the salsa night every week with you. So you have to see her in case you hook up or things don't work out, right? It gets awkward. What's another thing? Another way. Obviously there's cold approaching, like I have a dog, I have a cute dog. So a lot of women do, or kind of into the fact that I have a little puppy, so that you talk to them on the street, right? But I live in an area where there's a lot of high concentration of attractive women, so I'm not gonna say it's that much easier, but being around hot women constantly it's good for your brain, it's good for your testosterone levels, and it's good for your confidence and all that. It kind of like the hot girl effect goes away. You kind of start seeing hot girls as normal girls, which is good for you. So all in all, I would say dating apps are still preferred, right? You just have to have good pictures, have a good lifestyle, but nothing replaces the high of approaching women in public, and nothing replaces the amount of contact and plausible deniability you have during dancing. But dating apps is still my favorite. I have social circle game, but my social circle isn't too big right now. Obviously, I have female friends that they bring their female friends, and I've gotten pretty women, and almost a relationship one or two times. My least preferred way is Twitter. I don't know if you even care, because you only asked about preferred. Uh, Twitter women tend to be very angry, entitled, and they'll like you. They'll even send you nudes, but it's just they just seem very off. They're just they don't seem right in the head, a lot of them. So I don't recommend Twitter. Uh, but yeah, preferred is going to be dating apps. As long as you put in the effort into your profile, and you keep your expectations low, because again, you're not doing any effort. You're not supposed to have access to that much women, right? So why are you complaining that you're not getting matches? And if you aren't getting matches, then just don't use it. Simple as that. All right, we have 46 viewers and almost 500 viewers on X. So wow, I think this is a new record. No, my record's like 900 something, but I think that's because Pearl retweeted it or something. I'm not gonna ask her to retweet that. That would be selfish of me. Let's see. We're okay. So yeah, thanks for the $5, man. Yeah. You got to kind of figure it out yourself too. Like you may not like dancing. Don't blame you. But just go where the fish are, and if you can't put in a concerted effort in your Tinder or your dating apps, at least higher than the average guy does. Meaning, if you have to go get a professional photo shoot, meaning that if you have to go on YouTube to learn how to pose, photography, all that stuff, like it all comes down really to effort. Effort is going to be the deciding factor in your dating life. A lot of guys think it's just being hot. I'm like, well, being hot takes work, and showing other people you're hot takes work. And it's the guys that learn how to pose for photography, like how to do photography, learn how to use their iPhone and take good pictures with their iPhone. Maybe even buy a camera. Maybe learn how to dress, how to do poses for your pictures correctly. Employing AI, your AI chat GBT tools. The guys that give a shit are always going to be the ones that get laid the most. So yeah, great question. Thank you. Dance classes are a great way to socialize with them. Yep. Yeah. Amazing live stream today. Yeah. Thanks. I'm gonna screenshot that. Yeah. My female viewers I have 15% female viewers on my total viewers, so that's very interesting. So 15% right now of people watching me are females on YouTube, not even Twitter, just YouTube. So that's interesting. I asked the same thing about a lot of streamers in this space. Yeah. Mojo Money Major, the man in the arena, the male marketing streams had a lot of gold. Yeah, guys, like the whole conceptual thing of the red pill, it's fun to talk about. It's important. It puts things in perspective. It connects the dots, right? Obviously the ideas guys like Ryan and Rolo, they're the ones that kind of lead in that, where yes, they give practical advice, right? But if the nitty gritty, the stuff that like on a molecular level, no pun intended, on a atomic molecular level, right? It's all about edge. Like having an edge is what puts you above, right? Guys think it's like 20 years of hustling and grinding and buying yachts, right? Whereas it's just having the edge, right? Like logistics is your greatest edge. Like you can be the hottest guy in your city, but if you live an hour away from anything, then it's going to be rough for you. But if you live right in the smack dab in the middle of everything and you have done research on the places you can take women, right? You have an edge, right? You optimized everything. Obviously, there are guys that say, hey, status is what gets me laid. It's not about what's better, it's about what works for you. And I can only give you what I know. And if that helps, then great. But yeah, like the Instagram, what not to say in a date, man in the arena, all that stuff, it kind of gives you the mentality of like a warrior mentality, right? Warriors don't care about morality, right? Warriors don't care about what's right or what's wrong. Warriors have the mission and the mission in front of them. And how do I execute this without costing myself too much energy or risk? And that's what we're here for. And everyone has a different battlefield. Everyone has a different environment and different probably goal. So I can only share the things, and whatever you take from this, it's like if it helps in your goal, that's all that matters. We're not in this together, right? I only care about getting the right information out there, and that's it. What you do with that is your problem. And I like to see people being more independent emotionally and not having to hang off the word of every red pill content creator, right? Positive or negative, right? If you're mad at a content creator that said something, then move on, right? It's free speech. They have the right to say it. If you're absolutely enthralled by a content creator, then you shouldn't be worshiping, and we're all just regular dudes, right? So yeah, thank you. Do the chicks you dance salsa with know that you have a YouTube channel, Nuke? No, they don't. I want to keep it that way. Grim Villain, what's up with that Chinese girl who keeps nagging you on Twitter? She's so mean. I'm sure she's more pleasant in real life. She blocked me, and then she started commenting with her alt, I think. And I don't know if she blocked me with her alt. I think she's just, a little loopy, you know. But anyways, guys, it's getting late. I have to do some stuff before going to bed tonight. But I really appreciate you guys coming in. I'm sorry the stream was so long. Sorry, I just wanted to talk. I just want to hear myself talk today and all that stuff. Maybe it's the cigar that put me in a good mood or anything. But yeah, guys, appreciate all the super chats and all that stuff. You guys definitely paid for the show tonight. And at the end of the day, like we're here to win, guys. I'm not here to discuss who's right, who's wrong, morality. Who cares? All of you have your own morals. You're all men and women. You get to decide what's right and wrong in your own life, not me. I'm not entitled to tell you what's right or wrong. So get out there, win, say less in your dating, be careful what you say, and invite me to the wedding. That's all I got to say. If you want to invite me to the wedding, I'll be there. I'll be in the back. I won't even show up. You don't have to. Your family doesn't have to meet me. I just want the food and the dancing, and maybe maybe one or two bridesmaids. I'm a simple man. But I'll catch you guys later, and thank you guys. Man, I don't. Oh, here it goes. All right, talk to you guys later.